Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Shrimp of the House Recall. We're in part 4, and this is page 22. 22. Um, this took a bit of setup. How am I doing? Let's get that to 34%. In a way, I didn't want to do this, or at least I was putting this off, but it sort of worked out that their visit to the neighbor's house came at the end of this part, which again I didn't want to do. I wanted to get this part done and out there, but I don't really have a workable set for the neighbors. The idea set up in the first part, I mean, in the very first Shrimp of the House, was that their home model, what just happened? They're basically they're in the same home model as the Smith family. And even though I'm not even paying attention here, there we go. Even though I sort of mentioned that these were furnished houses as an excuse for basically using the same set with some very minor decoration, redress way back in the day. Um, Sort of after 3 years upgrading the models, the sets, blah blah blah. I've spent the better part of a day and a half redecorating a new version of David's house. Where's the rest of the family? And I'm largely not happy with it. It's sort of this model. The model for the house itself sort of fits with my idea of making the rooms oversized so that I've got room for the camera. But I think probably in the last year or so, I've been moving towards making rooms a little more realistic and sort of dealing with the cramped space. When it comes to the camera work, so I go to decorate this house. Let's see. And it's like I just can't put enough stuff in here. It's kind of like I could spend about a week dressing this house up, and for something that's going to get very little use in the grand scheme of things, I'd rather not spend the time. So my strategy has been, or will be, to deal with it, work around. Oops. So work around the some of the weaker parts in the set dressing. I think also, as I've tried to talk about throughout this part, I will say this could probably end up being the only video from this part of the story, because I just keep deleting everything. Yeah, I guess that. I'm hoping for the shot of the rest of the family here. Oops. I need I'm trying to time it for a full width panel. Let's see. The boys are studying for their final exams, and my now let's simplify that. And my daughter is let's see. And that'll get me the wide shot for the next panel. So yeah, I guess instead of wondering what to talk about, I've got all the things that I've tried to talk about in all the videos that I just threw out. So yeah, I was going to switch to I switched to sister-in-law to do a part for that story before coming back here. But I think something was kind of telling me to get this story done. So I sort of switched gears mid part. So I kind of apologize. I don't kind of. I apologize for the delay in sort of getting material up, and this is why. I'd switched mid part. That said, when I get back, if I get back to the part, whenever I get back to that next part of Sister-in-Law, part 3, it should be done in about half the time because I'm about halfway through the part. Um, I think too, I've just been like really exhausted and drained the last few weeks too. So that's been slowing things down. Okay. Excuse me. Or my layer to image size. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, this is just the same set as David's house. I basically just recolored and retextured all the surfaces, like the outside, um, the inside walls. And I think, unlike um, so it's when it comes to the walls, what I'll usually do is throw up sort of a texture and then recolor over that, so that there's some roughness to the wall. Uh, in here, I'm sort of experimenting with just the untextured wall with a straight color over it. So, like, the walls here are white. They're not actually. It's not pure white. It's the walls in the common rooms are slightly off from white. Um, I don't know if I'll get into the kids' rooms. But yeah, see, here's their living room, at least the kitchen. And as you can see, this whole wall is just blank. There's like nothing there. Let's make this on. I think for the sake of this shot, well, first off, like his head, I staged this before filming, And every time I look at this from this angle, his head just bothers me. Because in reality, he's looking right at him. But from this angle, it looks like he's looking toward the wall. Um, I think what I was about to say before going on to that tangent, I think I'm going to take the sofa out just so I get a clean shot. And I think this line is on the suit itself. I don't think that's a poke through issue. What I'm going to do is let's take him out. It's kind of weird. What we're going to do is okay. So I think one of the things I've tried to say in some of these videos, which again got deleted, is sort of it's sort of way back when I got the idea to do the original Shrimp of the House. I might have talked about it that sort of this family I had created before David and Liz and all the kids. And sort of in their backstory, Kyle had a brother. Let's see. Oh, I think the big children are having more fun than the real ones. And I've gone back and forth on it for here. I never really used him or mentioned him before. Undo. I need to control C that. So I thought in here, given the direction I'm going with Alex's story, this brother we've never met, seemed like a good catalyst for Alex's sort of decision process in this story. So I took the original brother from way back, revamped him quite a bit, and I initially wasn't happy. I think the skin I put on him, he didn't really look like a younger brother. Because the idea is while Kyle's got the young family, his younger brother is in college, and the original intention was that he was living with Kyle while commuting to this to the state college nearby, wherever that is, which was going to be Alex's plan. I think it was mentioned in a previous story somewhere that Alex was doing the same thing. He was planning on going to state college and commuting from home. So the idea is that's what Kyle's younger brother is doing, is staying with him. Come on. But like I said, the skin I had on him, he didn't really look like a younger brother, so I was going to just sort of rework him as a cousin who's staying for a couple of weeks. And the idea didn't really sell. I wasn't really sold on the idea, so I think almost last minute I went back and kind of found a different skin for the character that I was happy with. Probably still doesn't look anything like Kyle, but he's close enough. He looks younger. Whoops, I need this one. So I'm back to that backstory that it's his younger brother. So it's like it's the backstory I've got in his head has been like worked and reworked. So I think now, as I've mentioned in a previous page, he's staying with Kyle for the summer. He's not staying for college. It's like he's off wherever for college. And the idea is like he just finished the semester and he's staying with Kyle. The idea is that he's going to be working for the summer to sort of save up money for next fall. Let's see. Put the sofa back in. And I'm trying to think. I sort of want them to talk for a page or two, introduce the brother, blah, blah, blah. But it's at the same time, I'm so close to the end of this part, I've got to sort of think of, I've got to try and time this in a way that it ends with at least a slight, I call it cliffhanger, but it's not always a cliffhanger. Yeah, I know. Let's go on. Let's give David a line. Let's see. On. See, the problem I have, and I'm gonna keep this, but the thing is, like, making the walls white is kind of natural. I think a lot of houses they're putting up nowadays, they're going with white walls and sort of avoiding sort of the bold color choices these days. But the problem is the white just looks so bright in the background. I thought things were weird in our house. These days, new layer. Um, so the idea is Alex is going to run into this guy closer to the end of the story, not at the end, but further along than here. But I kind of want to it's the purpose of this segment is I kind of want to introduce him into the story a little earlier, so he's not just spontaneously popping up at the last minute. Um, and originally his name was AJ, and I'll probably end up referring to him as AJ here and there. Um, and I'll have to really pay attention, sort of going forward in writing the dialogue, because I'll guarantee you I'll refer to him as AJ at some point and have to fix it later on. Hopefully, I'll catch all those instances. But I think because I've got too many characters with A names, I'm just switching his name to CJ instead. Oh my god, come on. So that I sort of keep the feel of him using initials without it being another A name. So yeah, if I refer to him as AJ in the videos going forward, just know that I mean CJ. Edit, select none. Edit, cut, layer. Merge down. And we will save that. Okay. So then I stage that for one shot. Okay, this. Oh, wait. I see. So it's the idea and the idea. So it's what I've done here, and I did it in the very first shrimp of the house when they were playing before. Is to take the weapons and throw some brightly and just remove the textures and replace them with bright colors. Sort of make them look like they're plastic, to make them look non-threatening, to make sure that I'm not like in any way making this look like it's violent or dangerous, etc., etc. Take the weapons and make them look like toys, kind of make it look more plasticky. Oops, So I think they were using guns in the first one. They were like doing a fake gun battle. So we had to so all the guns are brightly colored, like oranges and reds and stuff. So that I'm not actually promoting gun violence. I'm not sure, but I think the issue. I think the issue is all the smoothing modifiers I've got on everything is slowing this down and making it drag. I'm not sure that I've got too many characters doing it. Let's see. Um, ugh. Not sure how much of him is going to be in the shots. I'm gonna kind of maneuver him just in case. Okay, speaking of smoothing modifiers, not his. Kyle's suit is not smoothing. Hmm. Okay. This is interesting. Hmm. Okay, I guess that was it. And I can probably knock this down. Oh, shoot. And speaking of, I can see it from here. His socks are supposed to be as well. So what the heck is going on? The heck turned off all the see. Layer, transform. Oops. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, that's square. And also, I think what I've got to go back on, excuse me, in sort of an unrelated matter. I think it was in this part where I mentioned it, and I'll have to go back and look, but I'm thinking we're so far Allison's dance is coming up at the end of the current week in story. And I think I'm going to push it off until the next week. Which means I'm going to have to go back and change references. Just change the text. It's nothing that is going to cause a major crisis. It's just a few word changes here and there. But I'm thinking story wise, it might be better if the dance comes after David's grown back, whereas Alex's exam has to come sooner rather than later because time has to pass for the teacher to grade it and return the results. And that can't happen if the exam happens at the end of the story. And off the top of my head, I don't exactly remember, but I think when this family showed up in the very first story, I think I think he was in quote unquote costume for playtime. So I like the idea that he gets so into it with the kids that he plays dress up, so to speak. But oh, whoops! Oh shoot! What's going on here? Yeah. Oh my god! The arm. Wow, that arm looks funny. Yeah, I'm going to re-render it just without the hand gesture. And since I accidentally skipped number 6, I'm going to go ahead and do number 6, and then I'm going to delete number 7. Delete. I can get rid of that picture. So just for the heck of it, while I've got this here, yeah, okay. And what I do is bring that down there. Okay. So that you kind of see them instead of it covering them and leaving this weird space with the sofa. So I think so. It's as kind of working through this, I'm trying to figure out where this part is going to end because it's looking like this scene is going to spread over into the next part. So I mean, there's a couple of ideas I've got in mind for kind of cliffhanging this thing, and I use that term loosely. Keep in mind. So it's just a matter of what do I want to do for the next 2 pages. Because it looks like the next page is going to be sort of a walk and talk kind of thing where he introduces us and gives us a little bit of backstory into his brother and sets up for playtime. Because I think at David's size, they're not going to be sword fighting. Oh yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I know how I can. I know how I can end this part. Got it. You'll have to wait and see. Um, but I'm still like, trying to settle on how long this story will be. Here I am at the end of the fourth part, and I still don't know how long this is going to go. It's layers. I'm thinking now I'm going to try to finish it in 6 parts and get it out there, keep it from dragging on too much longer. But, oh, what did I just do? What the heck? Oh, I merged instead of deleted. Okay. But I mean, the way I think this part, I think it's the way this part has gone. It could conceivably go 7 parts, and I have to say that I was thinking that from the beginning. It's I've always it's I wanted to do this one in sort of the spirit of the very first Shrimp of the House. What are we doing? Save. And I think probably because of that, I sort of had a weird feeling that this was going to be 7 parts, like the first one. But I'm not. I'm not planning on that. I'm not trying to make it 7 parts. It's more. I guess it's like I did with when I was creating the very first Shrimp of the House. It's like, let's just work and see how long this goes. And that's what I'm doing here. Okay, come in. Where's the rest of the family? The boys are studying for their final exams, and my daughter is trying to settle on a hairstyle for her big dance. I see your children are already playing. Yeah, I think the big children are having more fun than the real ones. When I thought things were weird in our house. Yeah, my brother got in the spirit of things and didn't want to wait for you guys. uh, and if you kind of notice, they're wearing the armbands that they had in the very first Shrimp of the House that he was using. But as far as the costumes, like I said, I wanted to go with costumes, and I go looking at some of the odd stuff that I've somehow collected in my library. And while I've got a few weird outfits that would have been interesting, nothing really sold me for these two, so to speak. And I settled on this thing, which actually looks goofier than anything else I could have put them in. Oh my god, but I'm going on. And I want to get on to the next part. So I will leave it here. I hope you found that entertaining. I hope this part's worth the wait. I will see you next time, which will probably be in part 5.